to the Schedules A and B of Chapter 1 of the Rules of the District relative to its water, wastewater, irrigation, water rates, fees, charges for utility services, and connection fees by adoption of a resolution.
And Madam Chairman, if I may just for a moment.
Certainly.
I've provided to Mr. Shoemaker, and he has the copy of the notice in the newspaper, of the Fort Myers News Press of March 1st, cut out of it, as well as an affidavit of publication that was provided by Marilyn Murphy with Infomark obtained from the News Press, indicating that the notice of today's hearing was published in the Fort Myers News Press on March 1st, 2019. Also, I handed out earlier, and was prepared by Infomark, verbatim transcription of comments made by some individuals at the February 21st, 2019 meeting.
Yep.
In the event that they would not be able to be present today. That was Mr. George, Mr. Moore, and Mr. Driscoll. And I'd like to make those part of this meeting minutes records also. When the board decides to take action. And Madam Chair, have you opened the meeting to the public, or you wish to?
I have not done that
Okay.
yet. I just called it back to order, so I will, I don't have in front of me, so just open it up for public comment.
Yes, I would just say, move to open the public hearing.
Okay, I'll need a motion to open the public hearing.
A motion to open the public hearing, to reconvene it.
Reconvene it.
Yeah, reconvene it.
Second.
Okay, I've got a motion to reconvene the public hearing in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Chris, would you like to again just briefly recap the purpose of the public hearing? If any members of the public can?
And the purpose for the public hearing is to take input on the rate increases that are proposed in utility rates and fees and charges, and also for the connection fees that are charged for new development hooking into the utility system. And our consultant, Daryl Parker, is not here today. I'm going to handle this. If there are any questions, Daryl's made the same presentation to the board 2 times, so I told him he could stay in Orlando today. But I will go back that this has been in front of the public previously, and in addition to the notice that it's required to publish in the newspaper, this information was also presented in the Gateway Sun blog. We put a full-page ad in the Gateway Community newspaper. The notices went out to the customers and the utility bills. We also sent notices to all the master metered communities and their property owner associations. And I also had direct contact and spoke with 6 larger associations about the upcoming impact with the bills. And just to summarize that, really the big impact is in irrigation. For a customer that uses an average, which is an average customer with 6,000 gallons, the bill remains unchanged. We didn't change the wastewater rate at all. We changed the water rate, and the irrigation rate was increased to reflect the operational cost. So basically, if we looked at over 5 years with a combined water and wastewater, and that customer at 6,000 gallons, and at that you're looking at the lower users, fixed income users, the bill there combined on a monthly basis would go from $77.28 to $82.46. So about $5 over the year. And we had one gentleman mention what he thought was an 18% increase. And I said, no, it's closer. We ended up about 12% with the calculation. And I said, over 5 years, your bill at that tier will go up a little more than $11. So the impact is more to the irrigation side, and we hope that'll send a price signal to some folks to reduce their irrigation use because it's so high in Gateway. And on the lower tiers and the lower users, there is no increase in the bill. Overall, when we started this process, Gateway had the lowest rates of all the 12 utilities in Southwest Florida, and we're still in the bottom 2 of utility rates with the proposed increases in the 12 utilities in Southwest Florida. And that's a summary, and with that, we do have a request to address the hearing with 2 speakers. and Mr. Charles Schaefer, Hampton Park. And Mr. Schaefer's been here a few times before to discuss water issues, and irrigation issues, and we gave him a tour of our irrigation system in the back.
I'd just like to say thank you. My name's Charles Schaefer, Hampton Park. I think the rates are fair, but I would like to bring to your notice that this is incorrect. There is a mistake as you have it proposed here, and it's under your irrigation section. Under usage charges for 5/8 or 3/4 inch meters, that should be 0 to 50,000 on tier 1. Tier 2 should be 50 to 100,000, and in tier 3 should be 100,000 plus, in order to be in line with all other ERCs. For instance, 1 inch right under there is equivalent to 2.5 ERCs. So they're allowed 125,000 gallons. So 1 hour ERC should be 50. 50 times 2.5 is 1 1/4. A 1.5 inch is equal to 5 ERCs. They are allowed 250,000 gallons under tier 1. So if you divide that by 5, that's 50,000. So it should be 50,000 for tier 1 for 5/8 and 3/4 inch lines, meters.
And the factors that we have, and you're dividing it by that
ERCs.
factor on the base ERC charge that we have on page 10. It lists the AWWA factors, and we have, depending on the size of the meter, but our existing factor on the 1 inch was 2.5.
Right.
On the 1.5 inch, it's 4.99, and the 2
Which is
inch,
5.
7.99.
Which is 8. Now, it all comes out on all your other charts there. It equals out the way you have your ERCs, 1 through 5, 10, or all the way up to 50, except for your irrigation. Irrigation is the only place where there's a mistake, and that's with the 5/8 and 3/4. That should be 0 to 50,000 to equal all the other ERCs.
Instead of 0 to 25,000?
Pardon?
You said 0 to 50,000. I said.
That's what it
instead
should
of
be.
0 to 25,000?
Right now, it's 0 to 25.
And you think it
Should be 0 to 50 to be in line with all the other ERCs on that list and throughout the rest of your proposed rates.
And the irrigation blocks are different. Hold on, I'll pull that out for you.
I guess the question, Chris and Leslie, is did Mr. Parker address that in his rate study as to the rationale for that?
And on the last page on that, the individual meter you're speaking about, not commercial meter.
Well, it's individual and commercial because it says individually metered residential, and it goes all the way down to 8 inch. So that's covering commercial also.
What you're saying is the 125 for the 1 inch, just divide by 2.5, and you come out to the 50.
50. And all the way up through there, even at 2 inch, which is equivalent to 8 ERLs, they're getting 400,000, you divide that by 50, and that comes out to the 8. So they're all at 50,000.
So it's just the 5/8 by 3/4 inch.
5/8 by
tier 1, 2,
3/4,
and
that's
3.
all, right.
Validate the number and I think that's.
John, would you restate that question? Because I'm looking at the last page and I've got tier 1 for individual.
5/8 or 3/4.
5/8 by 3/4 single residential, and tier 1 is 0 to 25,000.
Right, it should be 0 to 50.
Well, that's monthly, so wouldn't,
Yes. Okay.
so if it's bi-monthly.
Yeah, it doesn't make any difference because the ratio that what he's pointing out is not consistent all the way through, regardless of what you start with. If you're going to take and say that the 1 inch is 125 and you're going by the ERC as the basis, then the 5/8 has got to be 125 divided by 2.5. Because the 1 inch is 2.5
Yeah.
ERCs.
Should we call them?
Monthly and bi-monthly wouldn't have anything to do with it.
No,
Yeah,
this is by month.
Yeah, call Daryl and see that one. I don't have, right in front of me, I can't. And where, which page are you looking at?
That's it.
It's at the very bottom of the
Right here.
irrigation deal.
Yeah, good. Chris, if you look at the bottom of the legal notice, very, way at the bottom.
Clear at the bottom. Good catch. All the rest of the tiers and schedules throughout the whole thing is the same way.
It's the same, right.
Okay.
So tier 1 should be 0 to 50, and that should be 50 to 100, and then tier 3 should be 100,000 plus. See, because here you got 2 inches equivalent to 8 ERL, which is 400, so that's 50,000 times 8 is 400. So if that was 50, that would be correct. So it is all the rest of it. The only one that's incorrect is 5/8 by 3/4.
That conversion factor.
Yeah, something like this.
Isn't it this ways from the beginning?
I'm trying to.
Does Leslie have the existing schedule? Does she have the existing schedule?
Existing
How is
rates.
it set up? Is it got the same error?
Let's see here.
And it works out that way throughout the whole, all the rest of it as far as the ERCs,
Yeah, they're all
except for that.
ERCs. Yeah, it's just that 5/8 by 3/4 inch line, that's all that's in there.
That's been there from the beginning.
It's been like that
On the tiers.
forever.
I know what somebody did, they divided it by 2 to take it monthly instead of bi-monthly. And that's not the division, the division's the ERC.
Right.
Your alternative is, if you keep it at 0 to 25, then you're gonna have to make all the ones below reduced.
Reduce the current. Isn't it as simple as just updating this?
See, you can't
See,
increase it
see.
today though.
Do you have to republicize this and
Yes.
continue the public hearing?
Yes.
And you have, it's coming in.
If you want to, if there's a logical basis to keep all the others, and this is just a script, we can adopt all the others, you know, everything else, and then keep this one the same for the present time.
And then just
Separate hearing to
3/4.
amend it.
to amend
Yes,
just
that's
the
what I
one
did,
line.
Yeah. Yeah, adopt it as is and then do a separate hearing to correct. Because I don't want to kick the can down the road
I
on this
know,
any
that's what
longer.
I was thinking.
Because what,
Already
yeah,
done.
because the one issue that always comes into play is the connection fees don't come into effect until 90 days after we publish
After we
the
do it, so
resolution.
we're
in the
already-
paper.
We
No,
need
90 days
to
after the
do that.
resolution's in the paper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, so. Good catch.
Okay.
So, you know, we're seeing if there's, I think you're right, they're just double checking it with the consultant.
Those are the interest rates.
Oh. That you're doing to the crumbs.
Interference.
Don't go away.
I'm not, I'm going right here.
Well, while we're working on that, let's have Lorraine speak.
I just have a few questions. I
And-
apologize. Well, Lorraine Beecher, 9859 Weatherstone Place. I just have a few questions. I missed the last meeting because of health reasons. Is the enterprise fund running a deficit, or are they meeting, are the expenses equal to the revenues?
The enterprise fund is running a deficit on the irrigation side. Our water and wholesale wastewater rates remain the same. So on the rate increase, you don't see a change at all in the sewer. There is a slight uptick in the water charge, and that's because of increased chemical and staffing costs. And the irrigation system has been running at a deficit for years and is not self-supporting. So what you see is the expenses and the projected capital expenses to improve that system, and that's the additional cost. And that's why you see that much higher cost in irrigation versus the water and wastewater.
So the ones that are running at a profit, or at least one, revenues equals expenditures, what are the increases for? Is it for maintenance or?
Repair and replacement.
So we have a whole capital plan for the projected expenses. We're adding pumps in the irrigation system. And also reason for it going up is we put in a 15% R&R, renewal and replacement, that off the top of the bill, that goes into a repair fund, so that 15% of that increase is included in there.
Is there any reason that you didn't consider a bond since it's capital improvements?
Well, we're looking at SRF for some of those improvements because it's actually cheaper than a bond for doing it, but the majority of this is operational cost.
So the majority is operational, it's not capital improvement.
Correct.
Because when they talk about an inverted yield curve, you know, you could pay off the bond and have additional money.
When we did the capital improvement on both the wastewater, well, water, wastewater, and irrigation, we made assumptions on SRF funds, which are a loan, a bond, for the period of financing, and only put the principal and interest in. So that cost is out over a 20-year period. And then we stagger them over a 5-year construction.
Okay, and the connection fees. Why are the connection fees the same for a commercial entity versus a single family? And the connection fees, I notice are all the same. Is there a reason why they're all the same?
It's based on volume, a certain, equivalent residential unit, so the commercial building is, it's basically just volume, so you're multiplying that. If the commercial's using larger, they're paying that connection fee based on consumption and the actual use.
It's the meter
because
side.
it's commercial, residential, and the other side is a meter. That is going to be a larger monthly base facility charge for those larger meters.
Okay.
I'm not aware, other than apartments or condos, that any residential unit, I believe we have maybe 1 or 2 property owners that have 1-inch meters, but the predominance, the overall predominance of all of our residential users are 5/8 by 3/4. So there's really nobody in a residential mode that through an equivalency, a meter equivalency would be equal to a commercial. The commercials are, for the most part, a lot higher.
Yeah, I know everyone is concerned about the additional traffic with the building. I'm concerned about the water table.
About the water table?
The water table,
You're talking about the general building, or are you talking about the apartment complex?
the apartment complex. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Margaret, Daryl's gonna call in on that phone in a minute, so.
Okey dokey. We'll just wait on his call. He snuck over there, what did you
Hey, Chris, I'm sorry.
Mrs. Flaherty, I've got to think.
Oh.
Madam Chairman,
I
when we
think
get,
that's a song.
when we get Mr. Parker on the phone, we may also want to discuss the master metered residential rate for per dwelling unit or equivalent. Tier 1 there is 0 to 25,000.
Same
Same
thing
thing,
applies.
tier 2 is 2501 to 50,000, and 50,000 plus your tier 3. And whether, and once again, he may say that's by design, but I'd rather have Mr. Parker speak to that.
I understand your presentations.
There's almost no excuse because it goes by equivalency, so there's no justification.
I mean, there's no meter size difference, it's just per ERC.
Per ERC. Yeah, everything we do is on the ERC of 1, so if you divide this by the ERC, this should be whatever that number is. So if you go to 400 divided by 8, it should be 50. Easy way is just improve it and amend it later. Get these things, get them in.
That's a different presentation that we're going to for. But that's.
On his report, that's what you're looking for.
And the rates for some up to 6,000 gallon users, versus the users are unchanged. We didn't hit the bottom part of the tier, we just hit it for utilities. You don't want to
What he's trying to do is
push it down
use it for the water
users.
that a 5/8 gets on a monthly allowance before you skid tiers. Although that same argument would hold true, you do that on all one's flood also. 15 times that, not
Yeah.
50.
Let's see.
I think it's just a matter of, it's assessment.
What happened here? Let's see. Well, the initial draft is always for tier one was 0.5. Yeah, where's
Sure. Chris, let's move on.
You know, that's been that way from the beginning.
We'll share.
I'm just looking at.
I'm just saying,
Something's wrong.
and that's.
But look at
You know,
this.
semester.
Anything else?
That's been that.
So, yeah, something.
This is a draft from way back in December. Or January, it's, no, it's 12, that's January.
I didn't think so.
That's AWWA.
Or you study your position or something.
Get the action fee.
Get it all approved.
Oh, there we go. That's what I was looking for.
This one said January 3rd, and I thought he updated it in February when he presented.
I just don't think this got caught.
February
It's just a mistake and get caught.
I'm not so sure it's a mistake.
If you don't go by it, you completely ruin the philosophy of the ERC, AWWA-based methodology for the readers. It's a penalty to the residential users is what it is. Major penalties to them, and the larger users, no incentive to say what? Doesn't make sense.
But if you change these tiers to 0 to 50 and 50 to, then you're reducing the incentive for the residential set, which is where we had
Well,
lots of usage.
Well, your problem is if you go back and leave and establish the 25 base, now you go down and the change impacts every single meter. And not only here, everywhere throughout. So I don't think I'd rather just go 0 to 50 and be done with it. Now,
We didn't recess, right, we're still on.
no.
I understand.
That way, you, at least the whole basis of the AWWA ERCs is intact.
So then are you saying you're doing away with the tiers altogether?
No, tier stay. The only thing you're doing on all this is for a 5/8, as Charlie pointed out, for a 5/8 by 3/4 inch meter, all you're doing is taking 0 to 25, making it 0 to 50, 50 to 100 on the next one, and over 100. That's all you have to do. Now it aligns on a meter basis with all the other meters below it.
So if you'd make the 5/8 tier 1 0 to 50,
Yes,
and what would the tier 2?
it would be 50 to 100.
50 to 100.
And tier 3 would be
Tier
100.
Tier 3 would be 100.
And then everything else is done.
Everything else stays the same.
Yeah.
If we change that though, and so many of the single-family residential fall into that tier, the 3/4 to 5/8,
Yes.
we're gonna be reducing our revenue a lot. And all of this
You
was
sta-
based on.
Because right now, on a 2-month billing, where they're given 50,000 gallons, they're now gonna be given 100,000 gallons for the same dollar value.
Exactly. So,
I don't think there's anything you can do on it other than if you turn it topsy-turvy, you're gonna redo the whole damn schedule. And and everyone below that
I'm not
gets
so,
notified.
I don't know that we would have to redo the whole schedule.
Yeah, I think it's important to wait to see what Mr. Parker says.
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah,
is-
those
understand.
AWA and WA factors are what this whole thing is based on, and those are established and they're well established. I wouldn't change it.
Well, we could have done 6 o'clock.
6:15 is my absolute lowest.
Okay.
What are we waiting on?
Darrell.
Darrell.
Trying to chase Darrell down? Or for him to
Supposed
make
to
a
be
decision?
calling you.
So he said, tell me he's got to show you.
That stinks for me.
Actually, possibly use
People use it for. Most residential units are probably going to be in the neighborhood of 16 to 20,000 gallons a month.
You said that awfully quick.
So we're set high to begin with.
25.
We're at 25. This is almost a reverse discrimination. This penalizes the residential users and rewards the commercial users. And certainly rewards the large single meter residential users. Really exempt. Yeah.
You wanna call in on-
You get
call in our-
6-inch meter down here, they get 2,500,000 gallons.
Okay.
They divide that by the number of houses, versus that many 5/8 3/4, they're not getting anywhere near that kind of water. So they get a heck of a break.
All right, give him a call, go from there. Okay, bye.
He's gonna give a call, I think it's one of the factors, the way it is, because he's setting the first factor for the, this 3/4 by 5/8 at that 25,000, then it goes up from there. You wanna restate your question when he gets on the phone?
Whatever you put it on.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, I didn't get what you said that Daryl's saying.
Well,
He's not following his own ERC, AWWA deals by this mistake.
You know, and what he was saying, and he didn't quite understand, he wanted to hear the question again, but when we set that tier 1, with that factor, everything else is based on, you know, that first tier, the 25,000 gallons.
But the problem is, he didn't.
Right.
And what we're doing is, if we don't change it, we're majorly rewarding the people that are on master metered communities to use tremendous amount of irrigation water, more than the regular residential can do. So the only thing it forces us to do, instead of changing tier 1 and tier 1 only, we're gonna change all 6 tiers.
Yeah, I'd rather have Darrell on the
Yeah.
record explain everything.
Sure.
And it might be
It
a,
doesn't make any sense.
well.
Well, I know what he's doing. He's trying to control the amount of water. But if he's gonna try to control the amount of water for one user class, he's gotta do it for all.
Yeah, I think.
Which means we've
I think-
changed his
but-
whole thing.
But I think it's
Maybe.
supposed to strike me, I would wait to hear what Mr. Parker says, and we can,
You take it like workers.
I know there's rationale for that.
If he's gonna find out that you copied the one that was in the past that was wrong.
February 15th. Sure.
Do we need to call him?
I just did, I was talking to him. Asked him to call in. Call him.
Yeah, how long he's gonna be?
Should just be a second, we just had him on the line. Guess he's
When
traveling.
did you call it, which board meeting, you sent to the rich study?
Back, we were gonna do it in November, and then we moved it to, I think, January. And then we had the hearing in February.
I thought it was January.
He was in a dead spot.
What?
He was in a dead spot.
Where's he in, Orlando?
Or Stony Brook?
Right next to Bear's house.
You guys have a dead spot up
Right.
there?
My house.
Hello?
Hi, this is Daryl.
Hi, Daryl. Got you in the middle of the board meeting. And,
Oh, okay. Good afternoon.
good afternoon. And do you want to state it, or do you want to have the gentleman?
Well, you know,
Mr.
state,
Schaefer.
let Mr. Schaefer state it for the record.
Okay, sure.
And we're talking about allocations in the legal ad for the different tiers and the 3/4 by 5/8 single-family residential, and then how those go from there.
Irrigation.
Yeah, irrigation.
Irrigation, okay. And we didn't adjust any of the blockings in our analysis. We just did the rate analysis part of it.
Okay.
Okay, my name's Charles. Under the 5/8 by 3/4 inch there, you're saying the tier 1 allotment is 0 to 25,000 gallons per month. That should be 0 to 50,000 gallons per month to keep in line with the rest of the ERCs. You see under the 1 inch, which is a 2.5 ERC, they're allowed 125,000 gallons a month. That equates to 50,000 gallons per ERC. So the tier 1 5/8 by 3/4 is incorrect. It should be 0 to 50,000. Tier 2 for that 5/8 by 3/4 should be 50 to 100,000. And the tier 3 should be 100,000 plus for the 5/8 by 3/4.
Well, the first tier has been set by the utility at 0 to 25. That's not a matter of what it should be or shouldn't be. That's just what it's been set at. And I mean the tiers can be set by the utility really kind of wherever they would like.
That's, Daryl, listen at Tinkle, that's not the issue. The issue
Okay.
is, it's not following the ERC factors going down that are 1, 2.5, 5, 8, 16, 25, and 50. That's the issue.
Okay, so wait, I think that basically we're looking at this in reverse then. If we do that math, first tier at 25,000, then the first tier for the 1 inch should be 62,500, which
Yep.
would be 2.5 times.
20,
Uh,
yeah. Yeah, you
And then-
end up changing them all.
You would end up changing them all, yeah, but you wouldn't necessarily change the 25,000, you would change everything that calculates off of that.
That's correct.
And the same thing applies later on.
And, yeah, the same thing applies on down in the,
Master meter.
master meter communities. What we were trying to look at is it easier to change the first bracket from 0 to 25 to 0 to 50 rather than completely changing the entire schedule?
Well, it changes it either way, because if I change that to 50 right now, then the next one goes to 125, but after that, they go at the 1.5 inch meter, instead of being 0 to 250, it's 0 to 625. And then, so everything calculates.
No, if you change the 0 to 50, the
Yeah.
2 inch or the 1.5 inch meter is 5 times, and 50 times 5 is 250, which is what's there.
But I've got you're right, my thing's pulling off the wrong. Here, let me readjust my formula. Yeah, I see what you're saying. So what, let's see.
Our only choice, as I see it, is you reduce the 1 inch to the 12 inch and lower every one of those based on the ERC factors, or you simply take the easy way and increase the tier 1 from 0 to 25 to 0 to 50.
But we can't do that today.
Cannot do that today.
That's
The only
second
thing that we could do today is to approve the whole thing, then come back in, re-advertise and amend the 0 to, or the 5/8 by 3/4 inch schedule.
And also consider amending.
And also the master meter
The master
schedule.
meter residential for dwelling unit or equivalent,
Yes.
because that's also at 0 to 25 for tier 1.
Yeah.
And
There's-
I was gonna say, the other thing that I think is relevant here is how is that going to affect our income and our numbers? Because a lot of things were based on anticipation revenue.
Well, the question is, how many of our users use more than 25,000? There's no harm, no foul for anybody that's under 25. It's if we have, change it from 25 to 50, we're losing $1.50 for each 1,000 gallons. So the question is, how many of our 4,000 5/8 by 3/4 inch users use over 25,000 gallon a month?
Now, here again, the other option is to leave the 25,000 and calculate all the others off of that.
That's the other option, and that that redoes, you redo the whole thing if you do it that way, but that is an option.
Yeah. I think I'd see what has happened here when, this was one of the things that we changed during the rate study, is the irrigation rates were set such that the 1 inch meter the charge was 5 times rather than 2.5 times, and everything went down from there. And so we corrected that on the rate side, didn't change anything on the blockings.
That's
just-
the problem. Yep.
Yeah.
And I guess, Madam Chairman, the question I would have for Darrell also would the gallonage in the all 3 tiers need to change for the 5/8 or 3/4? Because the first one would be 0 to 50, the second one would be 50 to,
100, and then over 100.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, all that would change, of course.
That'd be the easy way of doing this.
But
At another
Do you
public
have-
another
hearing.
meeting, yes,
Yeah.
yes to that,
Yeah, do you have any ideas to what the number of users of the 4,000 5/8 by 3/4 inch meters we have that use irrigation greater than 25,000 gallons a month? That's a lot of water.
That's a lot, and in fact, Leslie and I looked at the average of that today. the system-wide average on a monthly basis for irrigation is right around that 25,000. So that includes all the big meters and everything. So the typical residential is going to be lower than that.
I just can't see that we've got a lot of exposure on that by changing that 25 to 50
At
I
a later
wouldn't
date.
think you will.
at a later date.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it'd be a huge revenue impact. That's something that we could probably get a better handle on, not sitting right here, but we could probably look at some more detailed customer data and
Yeah.
break it out into these adjusted tiers and see what the numbers look like.
Yeah, we could go ahead and approve this thing as is, knowing that as soon as you do that analysis, we gotta come back and make a change anyway. We'll have something factual as to the extent of the change.
Sure.
That's the way I go.
Yeah, and the only difficulty is we're not properly applying it as to tier one right now, or to all of them, we're not properly applying the EWA,
We're not properly.
applying the equivalency factors.
It's which comes first, chicken or the egg? Do you multiply the 1 times 2.5 to get the second one, or do you take the second one and divide it by 2.5 to get the first one? Which one's correct?
I'd run it down.
I'd run it down
I
to.
think is what happened, it's a 0 to 25, 25 to 50 is fine, that's how it should be. But I think this table probably pulled from these rates, and I don't think the irrigation got updated to the AWWA.
That's exactly.
So
what
I think
happened.
the 0 to 25
Yeah.
is correct.
The
And then we just need
rates
to run it
did, but
down.
yeah, we didn't adjust the tiers.
And
That's-
it's pulling from that far right column
Well,
instead of the.
if that was the case and you wanted to stay at the 25, then
Yeah.
that would require the adjustment of all
Everything
the
down.
ones below.
Yep.
Yeah. We got
Well, we're
time.
gonna have to do
We're gonna
one
get you
or
a-
the other.
Well, the easy way is right now is get the thing on the street as is. We know we're going to have to amend it anyway. One way or the other, we're gonna have to amend it. The question
And
is.
it won't take long.
No, it won't take long, but I think you hit the nail on the head. We need some more facts as to which way do we want to go. Do we want to take the 25 and go to the 50, or do we want to take everything from a 1 inch down to a 6 inch and reduce its amount of water available? In other words, lower them to be in line with the ratios.
And we have the billing analysis data
We can do
already
that.
done
Yeah.
to do that.
I think that's what we need to
In other
do.
words, you're saying that, for example, that the 1 inch at 2.5 times would be 2.5 times the 25,000 is one alternative.
Yes.
And that's an analysis that we need to have.
We need to have.
Okay. And I guess, Darrell, from your perspective as a rate consultant, that if the board was to approve the advertised rates, that they would be fair and equitable as they exist?
They still would be, but it's kind of one of those things that we didn't even pick up on that during the analysis. We just looked at it from the rate side of it. But it would what's going to happen is for those 3/4 inch meters, that's going to adjust to where there will be a bigger first block. Here again, I don't think you're going to see that many of those customers that are going over that 25,000 as a rule anyway. So it's probably just a matter of semantics at this point and just kind of making the numbers adjust properly.
Yeah, but again, from your perspective, it's your opinion that they're just and equitable and uniform for users of the same class?
You mean as adopted today?
Yeah, as they exist, yes. As they propose to be adopted today, yes, as advertised.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's tweaking.
Okay, just want to make sure I'm looking at statutory language. that's all.
Any other
Okay.
questions for Mr. Barber?
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you for calling in. Appreciate it.
All right.
I'm
All right.
sure
Good luck,
that-
guys. Thank you.
I'm sure they'll be back in touch with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what we've got to do. I'll help you guys on that.
Thank you.
Okay. Take care. Bye.
I think Leslie can take and Chris get an analysis of what our, we don't have to look at anything except residential and find out how many people on the residential side are using more than 25,000 in a 1 month period.
You know, we compiled all those billing determinants like that to see, and that's kind of how
And
we
then
came
tell us
up
what
with
our
that
exposure is on
6,000
money.
gallon list, you know, where we broke that at 6,000 gallons. And previously too, in some of those, the AWWA factors weren't used on some of the meters that we had, and I think we discussed that, Mr. Taylor.
What are we gonna do tonight, Madam Chair?
We're gonna make a motion to approve these, I believe that's what we.
Yeah, well, and the appropriate motion would be, as indicated, Chris did a good job. The board approved the proposed amendments to rates, fees, and charges, Schedule A and B of Chapter 1 of the Rules of the District relating to water, wastewater, irrigation fees, and charges, and adoption of those fees by the resolution number 2019 dash blank, whatever number will be assigned by Maryland, and authorize the chairman to sign the resolution.
I make that motion.
A motion, do we have a second?
I'll say.
Thank you, Mr. Guy. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion, questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And Madam Chairman, I guess, we never really did close the public hearing, but in effect you did.
Okay, I will officially close the public hearing.
And,
Do I need a vote on that?
yes.
A motion and a vote? Do I have a
Yes.
motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
And with that.
And Madam Chair, two more
Go
things if I
ahead.
may. just quickly.
Go ahead.
If the board would by motion ratify the action taken with regards to adopting the proposed amendments and the resolutions indicated.
Do what now?
I thought we already
Ratify.
voted on it.
It was in the public hearing, but you generally held after the public hearing. The public
Oh,
hearing was
sorry.
closed.
I'll make a motion that we ratify the motion made during the public
In
hearing
adoption of the resolution.
and adoption of the resolution.
We have a motion and a second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And with that, I'm gonna call us adjourned.
Thank you. And we will take care of, Chris and I work on putting the notice in the paper to start the 9 o'clock.
6:17
And we
PM.
aren't implementing the